Hello, I'm Sarah Anne Shockley, and this is the Pain Companion, chapter by chapter. Chapter 19, Introduction to the Meditative Exercises. While medications and procedures work on our physicality to try to cure whatever ails us through traditional medical means, the 11 meditative exercises that follow honor the inner world of pain and the inner relationships pain establishes within and between the body and the self. Through them, we set up lines of communication with pain as an energy, a personality, and a messenger. In some, we step back to see pain from a distance, and in others, we draw in closer to understand it even more intimately. By gaining some distance, we can see that pain is not the totality of who we are. By stepping in closer, we see how it expresses itself in our bodies using metaphor and imagination. By creating a new relationship with pain, opening up lines of communication, and understanding pain's inner purposes and messages, we can begin to loosen the hold it has on our bodies, thereby easing symptoms and shortening its stay. Doing these short meditative exercises helps release anxiety and increase our overall emotional and physical well-being. After a brief explanation, each exercise provides a direct experience of the concepts. If you don't feel up to doing the exercises at this time, just please listen through them anyway because they introduce many helpful approaches and insights. Each exercise is relatively short. I recommend working with them in a progression as they build on one another. Each can be done any number of times. Since some of these exercises bring directed awareness to the sensations of physical pain, use your discretion in deciding when it is time to rest. Through working this way, I discovered that while I was putting my directed attention on pain, it did briefly feel more intense. But paradoxically, this respectful attention led to greater relief and release both over the duration of each of the exercises and as I worked with them repeatedly over time. Be kind to yourself as you experiment with relating to your pain in new ways. Take it slow with frequent rests and talk to others about your feelings when you can. Chapter 20, Releasing Breath. One of the first things we do when we experience pain is draw in a sharp breath and hold it to try to stop the painful sensation. Holding the breath puts us in a kind of suspended animation where it seems we don't have to feel. When we resume breathing, it's usually shallow and light, punctuated by sharp intakes or panting, and then we periodically hold the breath again. We avoid breathing with or into the pain. We try to use our breath to eject pain from the body or to create a wall of breath that the pain can't get past. Holding the breath obviously impedes the flow of oxygen into the bloodstream. It also tightens muscles and increases the overall constriction in the body. If we continuously impede our natural breathing process, it has a negative effect on our health and our healing possibilities. Once I noticed my habit of holding or restricting my breath, I began to consciously try to release it and to breathe more fully and calmly. The more I could breathe into and with my pain rather than against it, the better I felt. This meditative exercise is called Releasing Breath. 1. Notice how you are breathing right now. This is a very simple exercise, but extremely important. From time to time throughout your day, put attention on how you are breathing. Are you holding your breath, panting shallowly, or taking short, erratic breaths? Are you pushing against the pain with your breath, or trying to avoid feelings, physical and emotional, by not breathing fully? And the point of this is to just notice. Start the exercise with, right now, how are you breathing? Have you been holding your breath while I've been speaking, or breathing very shallowly, Just notice. There's not a right or wrong, just notice. 2, release your breath. If you notice that you have a habit of holding your breath, simply relax. Breathe in and exhale calmly. This breath does not have to be particularly deep or slow. Just start with allowing it to be a little freer and a little calmer. See if you can release the breath and use it less and less as a wall for holding back the pain. If you are panting, experiment with slowing your breath into a more natural rhythm. Alternatively, experiment with panting more, even speeding it up some without hyperventilating, and then releasing it. So allow yourself to be breathing just the way that you are. Don't try to change it at first. Just notice it, and then play with it. Play with what would happen if I breathed a little more deeply? What would happen if I breathed a little even more quickly? What would happen if I breathed more slowly? Just notice what it does to your feeling of calmness and relaxation or not, and notice what happens with the pain in the body. Does it make it worse? Does it heighten it? Or does it seem to relax it a little bit? This is just working with it, and you can always go back to where you were before. Breathing is not going to change the status of your pain in the body hugely, in the sense of if you take a 2 deep breath, you're going to be in pain for the rest of the day. Just do it in little increments too. Just change it slightly just to see what happens. But the main point of this is to notice when you're holding breath, which we do so often when we're in pain. We just kind of stop breathing, because if we hold our breath, maybe the pain won't move. Maybe it'll stay in the same place. Maybe it won't feel any different, but it's not really helping the healing process. 3, notice how breath affects your pain levels. So notice how placing attention on your breath and allowing it to flow a little more easily affects your pain levels. Pain may go up at first or stay the same, but over time it should reduce bit by bit as you allow your breath to move through your body with less restriction. So this is the point, is that as you pay attention to breath and as you play with it a little bit, ultimately what you're wanting to do is allow it to move just a little more freely. Just a little more freely. Just let it flow a little more, which is kind of scary at first when we believe that breathing is going to make the pain worse. It's like we think we're going to feel it worse if we breathe more deeply. And in a sense, that may be true at first, but as we get into allowing the breath to flow again more naturally, the pain does ease over time. And not that long time either. It really does. So do this exercise again and again, putting awareness on your breath and simply allowing it to restore itself to its natural flow as much as possible. Don't push it, don't strain. We're noticing most of all, and then allowing it to maybe move a little more freely. That's it. So here's the review of the exercise of releasing breath. 1, notice how you're breathing. Just notice it. Are you holding your breath? Are you trying to stop the pain by keeping your breath almost like a wall? It's another way of holding it. 2 is release it a little bit. Just release the breath from its holding pattern. And 3, just notice how that affects your pain levels. Just notice what happens and try it again. And just do this throughout the day at different times. It's really, really surprisingly helpful, because breath is so important to healing. It's important to the whole body. That's we can't live without breath, and we can't live for very long when breath stops. So here we are with some kind of pain in our body, and we find ourselves holding our breath. And yet breath must move through the body in order for us to live, of course, but also in order for us to heal and the pain ultimately to move. So we're kind of working against ourselves when we're holding our breath all the time. And it's an act of kind of trying to stop things. I totally understand it. And it's a way of kind of clamping down on the pain, as if we could just stop it by pulling in like that. But it's counterproductive. So just start with this easy way of allowing the breath to move a little bit, and you're going to be allowing the energy of healing to come into your body more fully immediately.